G'day and welcome back to another episode. Well, sort of. This is what I'm calling a bonus episode where I focus in on the 7 lakes, which I'd always intended to do, but also do a bit of a trip update. Now, trip update first. Now, I'm here in Almaty, Kazakhstan, and I've pretty much been riding 12 days solidly since I left Dushanbe. The Pamir Highway in Kyrgyzstan was so much more insane than I anticipated and really took it out of me. Now, that was for a multitude of reasons. Firstly was the roads. The roads were all over the place and super challenging riding, and I was riding for about 8 to 10 hours a day just to get through each stage. Then on top of that, I was dealing with altitude sickness. Some of the mountain passes were over 4,000 meters, the highest being 4,600 meters. And then I was also dealing with the runs. I've been having stomach problems pretty much the last 12 days solidly, which I think most people do have on the Pamir Highway for whatever reason. Consequently, I was absolutely exhausted when I got in each day. And I just haven't had a chance to do any film editing or look at any of the footage. Now, I did take about 3 hours worth of footage on the Pamir Highway because it was such an insane experience. So it is going to take me a while to go through. Now, in an ideal world, I'd take 3 or 4 days here in Almaty, go through the footage, upload some episodes, process everything, and then move on to the next stage. But unfortunately, I only have 13 days to get to Ulaanbaatar, where a truck's waiting to get my bike back home. Now, to get to Ulaanbaatar, it's about 4,000 kilometers. So for the Aussies, that's between Sydney and Perth and a little bit more. Except the roads, I'm sure, are going to be quite challenging and probably take quite a long time to get through. So the next 13 days are going to be pretty full on. So I'm just not going to have a chance to do any editing in that time. So unfortunately, I'm going to put the YouTube videos on hold until I finish the trip. And then I'm absolutely going to do them, but just when I have a chance to actually methodically go through them and do them justice. So, 7 lakes. The 7 lakes is something I found when I just crossed the border into Tajikistan. Now, I just had a sign, 7 lakes, 29 kilometers. I thought, well, I don't really know what that is, but maybe an hour there, hour back, I'll still get to Dushanbe. Well, what I found was one of the most beautiful places. So once I left the main road, which would have taken me to Dushanbe, it quickly turned to a dirt track. Now, I started following a river to get up to the first lake. And what I noticed along this river and the consequent lakes was lots of little villages. And it turned out this was quite a populated area. Now, the surrounding mountains are called the Fan Mountains, and these were used a lot by the locals for growing various goods. Now, they used the road that I was on to transport a lot of these goods. And as you'll see, the preferred mode of transport was the donkey. This is the real Hobbiton. I mean, Frodo Baggins! Holy crap! Wow! Okay, so maybe I was getting a little bit carried away, but man, after spending 10 days getting through the desert, I was just so excited to be in a mountainous area surrounded by water. And yeah, it just felt like such a magical place. And obviously, because I didn't know about it, I didn't know what to expect. And yeah, it just turned out to be one of the most beautiful places that I had visited. I've taken some swims, some amazing places in the mountains. This might take the cake. Look at this. Yes! Oh, it was so worth the desert to get to this. Oh my god, it's amazing. I'm literally giddy with excitement. Oh, I love this. This is why I did this fucking trip. Yes. Now, upon reflection, another reason I think I was a bit overcome by emotion is just that sense of discovery. It's finding new places off the beaten track and having an experience that I absolutely didn't expect to have. And also, the riding was super enjoyable, like along the river's edge and along the lakes, and just some really good technical riding. And it was just, man, I was just having so much fun. Bye bye. Salam alaikum. So there you have it. That's my experience of the Seven Lakes, and I'd highly recommend to anyone that's riding through Tajikistan to make a stop there. Now, obviously, this was a far more beautiful place than I expected, so I ended up spending the night at lake number 1, and I slept on a platform over the water. In the morning, I went for a quick dip before I headed to Dushanbe to get prepared for the Pamir Highway.